Hello everyone, and welcome to Tokyo Babel, with me, Phantom Zwei. So, this is a new series for the channel. It is a game that I don't actually know much about. I intentionally kept myself, pretty in the dark about the basics of it. I know that it is sort of action-oriented in a way in terms of, basically its theme as a visual novel. I've heard some comparisons to Fate Stay Night, though I've heard it's, not as good. But still, that is a good comparison that definitely piques my interest as someone who very much enjoyed Fate Stay Night. So, without further ado, let's get into it, shall we? A troubadour wandering the shrouded recesses of a dark forest. Mindless automations, toiling amidst walls long perished to the ages. A girl of gentle years weeping under the glow of dusk. It all began with the day of twilight. I am an ordinary being. Okay, I have absolutely no idea what that's about. We got a telephone ringing. Kugutsu Sorami. A shrill sound jolted my fleeting consciousness back to reality, making me feel like a spinning top forcefully put to a halt. Not the most pleasant of feelings, all things considered. A tingling numbness crawled along my left cheek and arm. I'd given up on forming sensible thoughts until my brain finished rebooting. Yet the ringing noise refused to cease, eventually growing painful in my ears and irritating my senses. If I had to compare it to anything, I'd say the sensation was akin to a screwdriver drilling into my eyeballs. Ugh, that'd surely leave a mark in the morning. With the rebooting of my brain finally complete, I lifted my head and cast a drowsy look at my surroundings, finding their vague contours enveloped by an orange glow. She is very out of it. After a number of hasty blinks, I finally began taking in my surroundings. Wooden desks and chairs ordered into neat lines, a blackboard, and a notice board with a bunch of notes stuck to it. It was a classroom. I must have fallen asleep and my head was still trying to figure out what was what. Where's that phone coming from? It sounds like an old rotary phone. I spent a few moments grumbling over my situation. Some friends I had. Wait, forget my friends. Wasn't it normally a teacher's job to wake up sleeping students? I wholeheartedly agree. Irritated, I jumped out of my seat and glanced around the room. And then I finally realized something that should have been obvious from the start. The classroom was empty. There wasn't a single soul in the room, save for me. Well, that by itself wasn't particularly strange. I guess everyone just decided to abandon me in my sleep, and I couldn't exactly blame them for it. Then I spotted yet another abnormality in the room. Yeah. This was a classroom, so why would I be hearing a ringing sound in here? Whence comest thou, O sound? Sure enough, an old rotary phone. I spotted the culprit in question with little to no effort. An ancient-looking black phone rested conspicuously atop the teacher's desk. Yet, there it was, without a shred of doubt, filling this room with its shrill tone like it was the most normal thing in the world. It made my head hurt to the point where I thought the sound was physically tampering with my brain in some way. My body felt heavy and sluggish, like I'd caught a cold or something. I certainly thought the situation was strange, but right now the pain was my utmost concern. Ugh, enough of your damn ringing already! I finally got close enough to pick up the receiver and put an end to this auditory nightmare.
Hi, moshi.
My frustration slipped into my tone. The person on the other end could no doubt make out the belligerent crudeness of it. The headache was seriously killing me, and the dizziness, almost like I had a fever. It was so bright. I attempted closing my eyes, but the orange rays still pierced through my eyelids, making me feel as if my brain itself was illuminated by its flickering lights. However, the person on the other end of the line showed no sign of surprise whatsoever. His voice was dispassionate, cold as ice. His mechanical tone instantly dispelled the haze enveloping my mind. My name. My name was, let's see.
Sorami.
Yes, my name was Kugutsu Sorami. I really wished my parents had picked something more feminine sounding, but there you had it. Well, that didn't take long. Killed. I spent a few moments trying to process the word before answering him.
Huh?
What an insipid response. Then again, I thought it was fairly appropriate, considering I'd just been told over the phone that I'd be killed. Nonetheless, the words felt awfully out of place, almost like I was the one acting foolishly, while the person on the other side of the line was the one in the right. All I could muster was another, what? I thought, or rather tried to think, that I'd been the victim of one hell of a prank call. My brain had been in complete emergency mode for a while now, trying to tell me that I'd gotten myself into a dire situation, that I was merely turning a blind eye to the problem. Killed? Someone was out to kill me?
ちょっと、わけわかんないこと言わないでよ。
My voice trailed off abruptly. I shot a sheepish glance around the room to confirm I was still alone. His words silenced me in an instant. Ugh, I was really scared. And with that, I'd finally realized the most striking abnormality of my situation. I was Kugutsu Sorami. I was Kugutsu Sorami. I was Kugutsu Sorami. I had no other information. I felt as if a short circuit had occurred within my brain, and even the orange-tinted light flittering in through the windows worked only to accelerate my terror. The cold voice buzzing through the receiver soothed my panic-stricken mind. Survive? What the hell was that even supposed to mean? Still, his suggestion did sound awfully appealing.
わかった、逃げる。いや、ちょっと待って、逃げるってどこへ行けばいいのよ。
どこでもいい。今は誰もいない？
誰もいない。
だったら、教室以外の誰もいない場所を探して。もし誰かに会ったら、それがどんな存在だろうと、絶対に接触するな。わかったかい？
わかった。生体反応完全消失を確認。天使が動き出したかも。
Vital signs lost. The angel must be on the move. A mechanical voice reached me from the receiver. I couldn't quite make it out.
今なんて言った？
どうやら動き出したらしい。今すぐ教室から出るんだ。今すぐに。
On the move. That one phrase chilled my blood.
急げ。
I slapped the receiver down and rushed outside the room. Where? Where do I go? I had a million questions racing through my mind about my amnesia, about whoever was targeting me, about the abandoned school building, the guy over the phone, and God knows what else.
とりあえず、今は逃げる。
It was a split-second decision. I ran and ran as far as I could, down the stairs and up the stairs, then down and up and down and down. I ran for 10 minutes straight, surprising even myself by such a display of stamina. Yet each breath I inhaled now felt a chore as my sluggish body was assaulted by a wave of unpleasant chills. I was now standing in a long, straight hallway, with no idea where to go. Well, that seemed to accomplish basically nothing. The classrooms were locked, and though I could probably kick the doors down, I preferred not to make a racket. I was going to be killed. Those ominous words still haunted my mind as I bolted through the hallways that seemed to go on in an endless circle. I had no idea if I was ascending or descending, nor could I even tell which floor I was on. Damn it. I was beyond clueless. Other than my past being one massive question mark, the present was a blur and the future even less certain. I felt as if fear had taken hold of my heart with an iron fist, making me sink deeper and deeper into its bog. Despite wanting to go home, I couldn't even recall where I lived. The only thing I still remembered was my name. I wondered if I had a family or friends. What sort of things did I like or dislike? What were my strengths and weaknesses? I couldn't even remember my own face all that well. I considered the straightforward possibility of this all just being a dream. With a faint glimmer of hope nestled in my heart, I decided to give my cheeks a hearty pinch. It seemed like I could feel pain, in which case getting hurt or even killed would feel just as real, even if this were a dream. I needed a place where I could be alone, somewhere I could hide. She's rather cute, isn't she? The girls' bathroom seemed clean enough, so I decided to huddle up inside the furthest stall. I sat myself down on the toilet seat, letting a sigh leave my lips as I hugged my knees to my chest. The rays of dusk seeped in through the windows in unchanging orange. The sheer number of things I had to mull over left me unable to properly collect my thoughts. If I were to count my blessings, I could name only one. The fact that I didn't succumb under pressure and start screaming at the top of my lungs. No doubt I had my hardened nature to thank for that. I was simply scared. To realize that I would be next, to know that my life was in the crosshairs, paralyzed me with fear. I jolted up, let out a scream too, and ultimately hit my bum as I landed back on the toilet seat. A phone hung on the wall behind me. Actually, it sort of appeared out of thin air just now. It stood out like a sore thumb, so I was pretty sure I would have noticed it before. The phone was ringing its usual shrill tone. I snatched up the receiver with a loud click and hailed it to my ear.
もしもし。
ちょっと一体どういうことなのよ。どういう理屈でこんな場所に電話あるのよ。一体どこにかけてんのよ。ふざけんじゃないわよ。こっちは怖いんだから。
元気だね。
ちっとも元気じゃないわよ。何が何だかもうわからない。これ夢よね。夢だと言って。
君が知っている現実とは少し違うかもしれないけど、目を覚ましたらベッドの中という希望は捨てた方がいい。
持って回った言い方しないで。ああ、もう。
君は今女子トイレ？
そう。幸い誰もいないみたい。
いないだろうね。今その校舎にいるのは君ともう一人だけなんだから。残っているのはもう君だけなんだ。
私以外の人たちは？
Yeah, that is the question.
いない。皆殺しにされたらしい。
Great. I took a deep breath, having understood the sheer severity and abnormality of the situation, even if most of the details were still vague at best.
この電話で喋っているとまずいかな。
受話器を取っている間、音を君がいる世界から切り離しているから問題ないと思う。
そんなことできるの？いや、今なら何でも信じるけどさ。
不可能じゃない。はためには君がパクパク口を動かしているだけに見える。
ああ、そう。他人の目がなくてよかったわ。
悪いニュースが一つある。
I sighed again. What now?
この状況以上に悪いニュースがあるならさっさと言って。
君を助けるには思っていた以上に時間がかかりそうなんだ。もう少し頑張ってほしい。
Oh, great. Fantastic.
ああ、そう。じゃあ、このまま待ってるわ。
すまない。
いいの。ああ、ところで、刹那だっけ？
そう。私の名前は天童刹那。
ちょっと変わった名前ね。ああ、いや、かっこいいとは思うけどさ。
そんなことを言われたのは初めてかもしれない。
あら、そうなの？それでどのくらいで助けに来られるのかしら？
I was hoping for him to arrive in a speedy fashion, like in 2 seconds if possible.
1時間後。無論、できるだけ短くするように努力はしている。
なんだ、すぐじゃない。
That managed to calm me down a bit.
ただし、30分以内に君は間違いなく襲われる。君の居場所は分からずとも、君が存在することそのものは、そいつには分かるのだから。
Okay, so it is a she that's after her. And with that, all my optimism flew right out the window.
そう。
怖くないのかい？
So we have Sorami and Setsuna so far. I gave an honest answer.
怖くないと言えば嘘になるけど、でも記憶がないせいかしら。どこか曖昧なのよ。記憶がない理由もわからない。どうしてここにいるかもわからない。自分がどんな存在なのかすらわからない。
そうだね。わからない。何もわからない。わかる必要がないのかもしれない。
Not sure if that was intentional or not, but it almost felt like he was mocking me.
いやよ、そんなの。無事に脱出できたら、私はわからないことをあなたの胸ぐら掴んででも問いただすから。
過激だ。
そういう性格みたいね。 記憶飛んでるからわからないけどさ。
それから
That would be extreme. Whoa, so much for 30 minutes. Just as Setsuna was about to tell me something, the bathroom door opened with a creak, making me freeze up in an instant.
今音がしなかったか。
した。
じっとして動かないで。
わかってるわよ。それよりこの声、本当に聞こえないんでしょうね。
多分。
Almost certain.
多分って何よ、ふざけんな。もし聞こえてたら弁償してもらうからね。
ともかく急いで君のところに行くから一旦切るよ。作業に集中したい。
嘘、待ってよ。こんな状況で一人は嫌よ。
静かにすぐに行くから。
ちょっと待って。
And with that, the line fell silent, robbing me of the only thing that still kept my sanity intact. What had gotten into me? I was relatively fine until a minute ago. Lively, even. Fat beads of sweat began accumulating on my forehead, yet all I felt was a chill rushing through my entire body in a current, accompanied only by the incessant beating of my heart. I was afraid. The person in the bathroom gave off no sounds, nor any indication of movement. But I knew they were there. How could I not? I ended up having to bite down on my own hand to suppress the clattering of my teeth. In fact, I bit so hard that even a few droplets of blood gushed out. Nonetheless, I had no intention of making even the tiniest of squeaks. Well, that's demented. The girl recited the words in a voice gentler than a midsummer breeze. A frightened gasp escaped my lips. My heart was in a vice grip of chilled steel, freezing the very blood in my veins. I was scared beyond words. The unimaginable ruthlessness lurking behind that girlish facade of a tone filled me with a crippling sense of dread. I heard the sound of a door opening. 3 other stalls separated the intruder from mine. I couldn't stop shaking. I hadn't caught a glimpse of my pursuer's face, yet her voice alone spoke of her intentions with terrifying clarity. I would be killed, brutally and without mercy. Another bang. The door was flung open, with slightly more ferocity than the one preceding it. Stay away, stay away, stay away! The door of the second stall to my left sounded like it had just been kicked open. I would not last an hour like this, nor did I have any means of escape. I deeply regretted not picking the boys' bathroom to hide out in. The girl made her way to the next stall, her giggle like the chime of a tiny bell. The sound I heard next was more akin to a small-scale explosion rather than a door being opened. And then an idea popped into my head, one that could save my skin. It was a desperate gamble for certain, but also my only option right now. Is she gonna crawl underneath to the previous stall? That's what I was kind of thinking, like, get down and prepare to crawl through right when she shifts her attention. The girl would come to check my stall in a second. Before she could do that, I'd hop over the partition and slip into the neighboring stall. Hop over? Or what are you, frickin' Jackie Chan? I was thinking crawl. The same one she had checked moments before. The plan felt like it was destined to fail from the get-go. But I'd be a sitting duck if I simply stayed in my stall doing nothing. I'd be killed for certain, brutally and without mercy. I didn't want to die. Probably for the first time in my life, I began earnestly praying to God. I got up and latched onto the wall next to me, pulling myself up with all of the strength I could muster. Uh-oh. From beyond the partition, a pair of crimson eyes were fixed on me, staring intently. Just staring and staring, never once blinking. Just staring and 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 staring. The girl's lips slithered into a broad smile. And in the blink of an eye, everything around me was ravaged, rewound, ripped, and ruined. A gaping abyss of a hole invaded the bathroom floor, swallowing me whole, plunging me ever downward into depravity, darkness, and oblivion. The dark of midnight enveloped me at all angles, threatening to devour me. Moments passed, and everything was soon purged by the blinding white, almost like this had all just been a dream. What? Guess it was a dream, huh? I shot an alarmed look around the room, only to be met with the displeased gazes of my fellow classmates. Oh man, okay, I didn't see that coming. My gaze met with that of a middle-aged man standing tall on the teacher's podium, eyeballing me with an expression of clear astonishment. Oh my gosh, he looks so much like Dojima from Persona 4 minus the scruff. Looks like young Dojima, like 100%. If you played Persona 4, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
そうかそうか、クグツ。先生の授業はそんなにつまらないんだな。
違います。誤解です。誤解。
じゃあいきなり規制を発して授業中に立ち上がり、キョロキョロと周囲を見回した理由を述べよ。どうした？寝ていたんじゃないならきっと理由があるんだよな。先生、クグツのことは信頼してるからな。
学級崩壊させたくて。
Great excuse.
クグツソラミアウト。
His fist crash-landed into my head. Yeah, saying that might not have been the brightest of ideas, as I now had to endure the sheer humiliation of being made the laughingstock of my whole class. Well, that was a shift in tone, wasn't it?
死にたい。本当。あなたも死んでしまった方がいいんじゃないかしら。友人であることが恥ずかしくなったわよ。うっさいわね、女子生徒 A。中学以来同じクラスの友人にモブ扱いされた。夢見が悪かったせいで、どうにもこうにもいろいろと曖昧なのよ。んで、あんた誰だっけ？うっさい。そんなこと言うやつには絶対に私の名を教えてなんてやらない。
This is very strange.
わかった。じゃあこれから一生南雲有利のことは女子生徒 A で通すから。ねえ A さん、前から思ってたんだけど、あなたって人生におけるイベント絵が少ないわよね。あらゆる意味でひどい発言ね。てか普通に覚えてるじゃないのよ。もう心配して損した。
I buried my face on my desk, pretending not to hear her. Well, to be fair, I'd only just remembered it now.
それにしても嫌な夢だったわ。あら、空見って夢を覚えているタイプ？ インパクト強い夢を見たときは割と。でも大抵はその日のうちに忘れちゃうわ。
それそうよね。夢なんてそういうもの。
She's still just schoolgirl A.
あんまりリアルだったし、痛みまであったのよ。思い出すだけでも気分悪い。
Yuri responded with let me try that again. Yuri responded with a mischievous smile.
痛覚がある夢っていうのは確かに珍しいかもね。どんな夢だったのかしら。
あれ
I'd already forgotten it. In any case, it was really terrifying.
誰かに追い回される夢だったかな。
あるある。私はね。
Yuri cleared her throat and went on in a jovial tone.
ホッケーマスクの怪人とチェーンソーを持った怪人と頭に針を刺したセノバイトとゾンビとグールとリビングデッドに追い回された夢を見たわ。
Wow.
なぜゾンビとグールとリビングデッドをいちいち編集教的に分類したのかよくわからないけど、あと嬉しそうなのもよくわからないけど、まあ悪夢としてはパターンよね。
I got up from my desk to stretch my limbs.
ストレスか。
溜まってんでしょ、いろいろと。
溜まってんのかな。
I spotted a number of male students staring in my direction. There was something bashful about their gazes, and for some reason they'd instantly look the other way once I took notice of them. For some reason.
それも仮にも空見が熟れた体を持て余しているとか言い出したら大抵の男子生徒はエキサイトするでしょ。一言も言っとらんわ。
This is so weird. Besides, there was nothing on me that could in good conscience be labeled as ripe. Let's just say there was plenty of room for improvement.
ま、嫌な夢なんてさっさと忘れなさいな。所詮、夢は海の泡に過ぎない。存在を許されるのは一瞬だけなの。だからこそ波しぶきは美しく、夢は綺麗なのよ。悪夢は醜悪であればあるほど芸術品ね。
何変なこと言い出してんだか。
Yuri responded with a chuckle, then waved at me as she went on.
部活があるからお先に失礼するわ。じゃあまた明日ね。
いってらー。
See ya, schoolgirl A. Since you didn't get a name change throughout that entire thing. Right then. That conversation just now managed to stifle some of the uncanniness I initially felt. Guess I'll just head home and... A whiff of anxiety flooded my senses as I turned around in response to his oddly roundabout expression. Before me stood a male student of striking blonde locks. His countenance frigid, almost like a block of ice sculpted into a man. He wasn't... Orion, was he? Nah, he should be Japanese, even if he didn't look like one. The way he carried himself, that callous look in his eyes.
誰だっけ。
And I forgot his name.
和田夢之助。醜態をさらけ出して少しはまともになったのかと思ったのだが、ダメか。
はいはい。ついでだから忘れてもらえると助かるわ。アジャくん。
アジャじゃなくてアダだ。何度言えばわかるのかね、君は。
This cool guy.
いいじゃない。高名な女子プロレスラーと同じだなんて、私だったら喜ぶけど。
それと、親から受け継いだ名前を変えてしまうのとでは、話が別だ。
で、何のようなのよ。
奇妙な夢を見たんだそうだな。
そうよ。悪かったわね。
How? I mean, I guess he could have just been eavesdropping in on our conversation with Girl A, but otherwise, And the way she described it wasn't anything in particular. I mean, obviously there's probably more to this than meets the eye, given, this is a visual novel. But, if he's supposed to have just picked up on that from the conversation, which probably he hasn't, but otherwise, if he is, then that's a little weird. Ada shrugged, his emotionless features showing not a shred of change.
夢は少なからず現実を反映する。どんな高等無形な夢であっても、そこには必ず現実の記憶が絡みついている。
そんなもんなの？
そんなものだ。で、夢の内容は覚えてないのか？
分かった。私が夢の内容を聞かせると、それは欲求不満だね、くぐつくん。溜まっているんじゃないかな。あっはっは。っていうつもりでしょ、この変態。
Well played, Sorami.
君の想像力が無限大すぎる。
というわけでごめん、覚えてません。きれいさっぱり忘れちまいました。
そうか、それは残念だ。
Ada exhaled a sigh. Just as I was about to remind him how there was not much I could do about not remembering my dream, I spotted a girl standing behind him, exuding an aura of grace. Ah, right, she must be Ada's girlfriend.
行きましょう、夢の助様。
Sama, huh? Crap, I legit forgot her name. Who is she again?
もうそんな時間か。それでは、俺はこれで。
じゃあね。
Ada's girlfriend shot a few cursory glances at me, then briefly bowed and hurried off while constantly staying just a few steps behind him. Oh, that must have been the characteristic mindset of the ideal Japanese woman, always staying a few steps behind the male. Oh wait, there was actually a different interpretation in some book I read a while back. How staying a few steps behind was the ideal way to avoid landmines. By letting the one in front take the hit, that is. Man, that's cold. In any event, the point was that I couldn't quite see the value in a relationship like that. Having just declared that, though, I didn't actually know much about the two. But for some reason, I had the feeling of that feeling of certainty. Okay, let's finish up this scene before we call it an end for today's episode. I stepped out into the hallway, only to be greeted by the hearty guffaw of the one person I wanted to meet the least. This person was called, let's see.
反省しました、先生。
さっき南雲に聞いたんだが、お前寝ぼけているんだって？
余計なこと言いやがったな、あんやろ。すいません。弁解のしようもございません。でもまあ、ついさっきそれで鉄拳制裁食らったことですし、ここは一つ。
何がここは一つだ。だいたいおめえ、他人の名前すら曖昧になってるんじゃねえか。
Crap, he was surprisingly sharp for such a big guy.
そんなことないよ。先生、よくないね。
お前、うちの近所に住んでる外国の姉ちゃんか。
先生の名前を忘れました。
Either that, or I'd never known it in the first place. The amount of information I couldn't recall about this teacher of mine, compared to my classmates at any rate, was bordering close to nil.
熊本先生だ。思い出したか？
熊本先生ですね。覚えました。
He made no attempts at hiding his astonishment.
どうやら相当衝撃的な悪夢だったんだな。どんな夢だった？
夢を見ている間は今までにない斬新かつアバンギャルドで最強絶叫ホラーって感じだったんですが。
With a budget rivaling that of a Hollywood blockbuster, no less. At this point, I couldn't think of it as anything more than just a dream. The kind that rears its ugly head numerous times during people's lives. a dream where you're being chased by someone or something.
ああ、追いかけられるね。そんなに大量の課題を出した覚えはないんだが。
課題ありましたか？
It had completely slipped my mind.
あるぞ。今日一日で終わるかどうか微妙ってところのレベルが1週間前に出したはずだが。
His expression shifted into that of a teacher looking at a soon-to-be dropout.
覚えてないのか。つくづくダメなやつだな、お前さんは。
It seemed like he did consider me to be on the level of a dropout.
面目ないです。はい。
I scratched the back of my head. It wasn't like I could really help it. After all, I had no memories to work with. Wait a second. I did have memories.
どうした？
いえ、思い出しました。英語の論文でしたっけ？
なんだ、思い出せたのか。で、やってるのか？
はい、一応最後までやっています。確か。
Yeah, I was going to hand in some sorry excuse for a rough draft.
今日遂行するつもりでした。明日には提出できます。
なんだ、優等生じゃないかお前。
Yeah.
優等生ですよ。そういう設定です。
設定じゃなくて努力の証だろそれは。
自分が優等生なんて自覚なかなか持てなくて。
そうか。まあいいや。じゃ、明日の提出忘れるんじゃねえぞ。あと、悪夢を見るな。
いやー、夢のコントロールはちょっとさすがの私でも。
Well, I'm pretty sure that his point is don't sleep in class.
さすがの私って、お前はどれだけ自分を高評価してるんだ。それはともかく、枕の下に何か面白いものでも入れておけ。
あ、じゃあヌードルズのコント DVD でも差し込んでおきます。
The Noodles were a comic duo known for their TV performances, but rather than their stage appearance. No, not for their TV performances, but rather their stage appearances, that is. Though I was not able to see them live at the theater, I did end up buying their sketches on DVD. While I realize my constant praising may not change too many minds, so go check them out yourself. And that's it for my brief PSA.
あれ、ホラー混じってるコントもあるから気をつけてな。
意外に詳しいですね。
After spending a good 10 minutes losing myself in a heated discussion with Professor Kumamoto over the merits of this or that comic duo, I decided to finally excuse myself and be on my way. Okay. Well then, indeed, I think that is going to do it for the first episode of Tokyo Babel. Very interesting opening. Now I wonder what the heck is going on. Are we in some kind of flashback to her life before what happened, or is this actually like just she has gone to the past, or was she transported to some like alternate reality, which is why she doesn't actually know these people? I don't know. It's all very strange, and all I can do is theorize at this point. But it is interesting so far. So, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.